Okay, so this is the project for creating a DXF. So creating parts in Onshape and saving them as DXF, primarily for metals 2, the plasma torch/welding project. I think it's always good to name your files here so you know. Okay, I will just kind of going off the top of my head here. I'm going to create a little part sketch. We can make all of the parts on basically one plane. So here I'll just choose the front plane, and I'm going to make something like a dragonfly. Okay. You don't have to have fully defined parts for this, but a few parts will be helpful if they're fully defined, and I'll explain that as I go along here. I should look at a dragonfly before I start.
For the following students, please come to the front office. Cooper F., Sage Bennett, and Sophia Fry, please come to the front office.
And this is just the beginning of this basic concept here. Just do a little more. Dragonfly's body's a little longer than that. I think it's thorax, if I remember from biology class. Okay, so there is a side view. Okay. Now I can keep going here. What I do want to know is that this notch here is where the wings are going to be. So I can add a dimension there. It would be nice to know the overall dimensions too. So we'll just, I was trying to make it 1 inch, I'm pretty close. And we'll just see what the overall dimension is here. I'll just to make it simple, I'll make that 10. I'll change some things a little bit. You can always grab things and move them, redefine the radius. Alright, so there's that. Now I'm going to sketch the wings. And I really just want, well, I'll show you 2 ways. One way is to create a wing. See that 3-point arc, I'm clicking twice and then I can change the radius of the line. There, draw a line here. Okay, and I think I'll have some kind of decorations in there too, because I'm going to cut this out and make it kind of neat. Really, show you this way. The cool thing about plasma is if you just have a line, it'll cut that line and it'll be kind of open, it'll be an open space. So I just have it as a line here, but when the plasma will cut through there, it'll be a thickness, maybe a 1/16 of an inch or something, but it'll be open. And just thought of something. Let's see if I can do a little thinking here. Actually, that won't happen here. It's closed now, so I'll explain that here in a moment. So I'm just closing these. Notice I have very few dimensions here. Just say so this would be an opening also. And the idea is I'm going to cut out two of these and one of these and weld the wings on here. Okay. So we can extrude this, and on the assignment it tells you the thicknesses of the metal. We have 16th, we have 8th, we have a quarter, we have 3/16. I think most of the time we're going to use 1/8. It's relatively thin. The thicker we go, the more expensive it is. But if you're thinking of something beefier, maybe it's a tool and you need thicker metal, you could certainly do a 1/4 inch. We'll just make this a 1.25. That's an 1/8 inch. Probably heard that in the background. All right, so now I can do an assembly to get a feel for what this looks like. Background noise in this video. Alright, so I'm going to go to assembly now. I could have made these two separate parts, like I could have gone to Onshape, created another document, but here I can go, if I do it this way, I can go right to assembly. There's nothing showing up. I have to insert. And here is my wing, and here's my body. And if I made another part, I could go to other documents. So you'll see Onshape. And here's all my other documents I've created recently. And if you do insert one of these, let's just put this one in here, you have to make it a version. So if I created, let's call it version 1, and you'll see now that I can drag this part in, but I'm working on this one. So if you did create them in separate documents, that's how you would do that. Here I created them on the same sketch. I only have one sketch over here on Part Studio. I just have one sketch and one extrude. So back to assembly, which is at the bottom, insert, click, and click, 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 and click. And now I'm done with inserting. If I right click, and if I just click on it, I get the rotate command. This is kind of a cool little interface. Once you understand it, it makes a lot of sense. But I can move it, and I can rotate it with this part. This is only in the assembly. So if you're in the Part Studio, you won't be able to move things the way you do here. And I'm going to mate. I'm going to rotate a little farther. And this would be essentially to just see how it's going to look. And when we mate, we have these commands. And there's planar mate. The planar mate works really well. It's not going to do an angle for me. Planar mate, I would mate this plane with this plane. Check mark. You can see those are touching. So move this around. Another trick is if I right click, it says fix. It says either fix or float. I think I want to fix the body so it doesn't move. And that's not at an angle, but I could certainly weld it on an angle, right? So here I'm going to planar mate. I know there's a better mate for this. Like I could do an edge mate. It's different than a planar mate, but I'll just, I'm making sense to me right now, so we'll just do a planar mate with this plane. Sometimes you have to click it. If it's not working, like it should have gone over there. Let's see. It didn't. So I can delete that mate. And I just made. This is all kind of just so you can see what your part will look like and that they fit together. And I'll try that again. I have to make sure I choose the right plane on planar mate. That's a good plane right there. Little Pac-Man looking guy. I chose it here. Now I come over here and choose this plane. Let's see, it's okay. And in this case, I want to flip it. Click on the axis. Oops, that did it. Check mark. And there you see upside down. So that's kind of what my dragonfly would look like. I don't want you to do, if you do a dragonfly, do something different than this. Be creative. You could add legs, you could add antennas, you could, and some things like the legs could actually be a 1/4 inch wide, things like that. And this video is getting long, pause, but I do want to show you the last step, very important last step. Here are my 2 parts. We don't need to have 2 wings. I can cut out 2 wings on the plasma torch. Okay. But we're going to right click, export DXF. And I would name your name. Otherwise, I'm going to have a whole bunch of files that are just Part Studio 1, and I won't know who's to choose. Wing, U for wing, DXF. Export. And that, not sure if you can see this in the video, but it put it at the bottom of my screen, and that's put it in downloads underneath on this computer that I'm using. So I have to right click, export DXF, U for body, export. And then I have 2 DXF files down here, and those are what I'm going to submit into Google Classroom. And then we'll cut them out. I'm not sure if you can see this or not. If you can, downloads. This PC downloads. And there's my 2 downloads today. Your body, those are the things you submit into Google Classroom. At which time I can cut them out in the plasma torch, and you can roll them together and come up with your new project. The end.